Hello, I'm Luke, and welcome to another episode of the Vision to Victory podcast, where we discuss practical ways to turn your dreams into reality. Last week, we wrapped up the topic of freedom and finding freedom in different areas of our lives. And today, I want to start on a new topic, and the topic is well-being. What is it, and how do we cultivate it in our lives? And I think it's so important that we focus on this. This is kind of the lens through which we view and operate in our own lives. So what is well-being? Well-being is a state of positive mental, physical, and social health and overall life satisfaction. I'll say that again. Well-being is a state of positive mental, physical, and social health and overall life satisfaction. And again, this is not everything's great all the time, everything's perfect, but this is a state of mind, not limited to our mind, but it's, again, the lens through which we perceive everything in the world, whether good or bad or difficult or easy. And so I want to cover over the next few weeks things that we can focus on that, again, cultivate a state of well-being, that state of positive health in all those areas. Today, specifically, I want to focus on being present and grateful. These are things that I've touched on briefly as they relate to other topics that we've covered. But today I want to just give some brief practical things that we can do that will have a very meaningful impact on, again, our state of well-being and just our perception of our own world. So first, let's define what it means to be present and what it means to be grateful. To be present means to be fully engaged and conscious of the current moment, letting go of distractions from the past or future and focusing your attention on your immediate surroundings, thoughts, and feelings. I talk a lot about, for me, being in nature is a great way to do this. But again, when we think of being present, think of it as, there's a cliche that says, be where your feet are. Being present is taking in all of the, components of whatever moment you're in. So all the sensory inputs, whatever that looks like, and just being present, not worried about distractions, not worried about the past or the future. And I would say this. It involves actively listening to others, appreciating sensory details, making deliberate choices rather than reacting habitually. So actually being intentional about what you say and do instead of just doing what you always do without really thinking about it. And this state of mindful wakefulness can lead to deeper connections, more joy and a more fulfilling just life experience. So again, being present, it means listening, feeling, and not, by the way, judging whatever it is that you're hearing or feeling, but just observing it so that you can be present, take it in, and then you can respond accordingly if there's a response warranted. So being present, and then next, being grateful. I think we all obviously know what it means to be grateful on a surface level, but I think it's worth defining anyway. To be grateful means to be thankful for and appreciative of the good things in life, recognizing the benefits received and showing a warm or deep appreciation for kindness or favors, even when things are difficult. That last part, I believe, is maybe the most important. It's easy to be grateful when everything's great. It's more difficult, but perhaps more necessary when things are difficult. So if you are going through something difficult right now, just know that you can be grateful. And if you're grateful, you can find joy even in the midst of difficulty. That's not a coffee mug slogan. That's a reality. Doesn't mean that you're going to be happy all the time. Doesn't mean that pain doesn't hurt or any of that, but you can still be grateful, you can still be present, and you can still find joy. Again, gratefulness or gratitude is a mindset. Awareness It's an awareness and a positive outlook that can be cultivated through practices like appreciating small moments, finding the good in negative situations, and, acknowledging that we're part of a bigger whole. Yeah, that we have a dependence on others, which took me a while to realize this. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing to be connected to other people and that we all are kind of in this together. So being present and grateful, so important for our state of well-being. I want to give, as always, a few practical things that we can do to actually foster this or help us to practice these mindsets and attitudes. To be present, we can have some sort of spiritual practice. I believe this is a requirement for truly being present and peaceful, I would say. Regardless of your faith background, I think that some sort of prayer or meditation, focusing on, again, being present and connecting with something higher than yourself, God, whatever that might be, but taking time specifically for the purpose of prayer meditation. I'd recommend doing it early in the morning, or early in your own day. I think that's a critical part for me. At least I've experienced this in my own life, that is a necessary part. It sets the tone for the rest of my day, and helps me to be present and grateful. The second thing is disconnect from technology. This is obviously a super practical one, but it's a reality that we all, have to navigate. And, for me, I've been making a point to, every week I get a notification on my phone that tells me how much screen time I used the previous week. And I am making conscious effort to each week make it a little bit less than the previous week. Just because if we're distracted, then we're not present. I mean, it's technology most of the time. I think we all kind of know this, but aren't necessarily as intentional as we could be about it. Technology keeps us from being present most of the time. So if you want to be present, disconnect from technology. Another one I talked about, connect with nature. This is like the alternative to technology. It's like the opposite, the antonym of technology, right? It's connecting with nature helps us be present in the moment. And again, it uses our senses in a way that is engaging and puts our mind where our feet are. So again, prayer, meditation, disconnect from technology, and then get outside, connect with nature. Another thing for being present is connect socially. Even if it's just a text message, if you can, grab lunch, once or twice a week with some friends. We are wired for social connection, and a huge component of depression that is so prevalent today is due to lack of social connection. And if nothing else, just send a nice message, send a nice text. It will make the other person feel better. It'll make you feel good. And it's just, again, connecting us with something outside of ourselves. We get depressed if we isolate ourselves. So connect socially. And finally, under being present, focus on one thing at a time. There's been a lot of research over the past few decades on this. Multitasking is a lie. Multitasking is not doing multiple things at once. It's just switching very quickly from one task to another, which, again, research would say is completely unproductive. And not only does the quality drop of the things that you're doing, but it extends the time versus if you just focus on one thing, do it well, and then move to the next thing and do that well. So focus on one thing at a time. This makes it much easier to be present in the moment if you're just focused on what you're doing. And we know this intuitively. Like if you're on your phone while you're having a conversation with someone in person, you're obviously not paying attention fully to the person that you're in the room with, right? So focus on one thing at a time. Be where you are. Have your mind be present where your body is, and be present. Under grateful, here's some practical things we can do. First off, we have to realize that being grateful is a choice. It's a posture that we take. One thing that I like to do when, particularly if I am maybe feeling down about something, or I'm not in a good mood, or whatever it is what I call productive recollection. So if you're unhappy with something in your life, sometimes it can be helpful. It's helpful for me to think of how far I've come. Things might not always be great. Things might be messy right now. But I am not in some of the, dark places that I've been in the past. And sometimes it comforts me to productively think like, and I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I was. So productive recollection. And then say out loud 3 things that you're grateful for. This is another thing that I do on a daily basis. Whether I feel it or not, it's something that we can do that can be helpful. And, another one that I know other people do, and I've done this at different points in my life as well, is you can just say 3 good things that happened, in the last 24 hours. And this causes us to shift our focus from maybe what's wrong or what we're worried about or whatever might be the case, and to focus on the good and the positive things in our life, which we all have. And another practical thing we can do is just be mindful of our language. Is your language grateful? Or is it, what's wrong? What are you anxious about? Instead of, what I would call like abundance language, like blessed, you just talk in a way that sounds grateful, and talk about others in a positive way. Or is it about you? So is your language grateful? And then again, much like being present, something that helps with gratitude I've found is, again, being outside. I'm not sure exactly what it is that makes being outside lend such good perspective, but it does. It definitely can help you get in a mindset that is outside of yourself, and begin grateful for just being alive. I like this quote by Max Lucado. He says, "Gratitude lifts our eyes off the things we lack so we might see the blessings we possess." And this is really the heart of being present and being grateful. It's choosing our perspective and choosing what we focus on. Nothing in life is certain. And it's cliche, but it's true. We don't know how much time we have. And so we might as well be present in the moment, be grateful for all of the things in our life, and appreciate those things and those people that we're blessed enough to be connected with. Life is a gift. Take time to embrace the moment today. I hope you take a few minutes to be present and mindful and grateful. I hope you have a great week. If this was helpful for someone, please share it with somebody. Thank you.